joined tonight. My name is Mark Harsley. I'm the program director for the Be Nimble scholarship program and upskilling program. I'm really excited again to have our guest. We were chatting and catching up a little bit early. I know you guys are in for a treat as I've had an opportunity to interact with Bryan, his team, a couple of years ago now, kind of at the beginning and at a very crucial part of my journey. They were very open and receptive, and they actually dropped a lot of gems on me in the opportunities I've had to spend time with them in the past. So I'm going to read Bryan's bio for you all, and then again, let you guys have the room. I know he may have some things he wants to share initially, and then we'll have Wendy facilitate any Q&A that happens throughout the rest of our meeting. So there probably will be different people joining throughout the meeting, but that's okay. Bryan is a strategic marketing professional with over 20 years of experience in the industry. He has worked with some of the biggest names in sports, developing cutting-edge marketing plans and driving user-centered design processes that have resulted in growth and profit for his clients. He is respected for his ability to conduct in-depth data analysis and gain valuable insights into what makes users tick. With this knowledge, he is able to develop innovative initiatives that achieve objectives that may have previously been unknown to his clients. His latest venture is We Are RightHand, a marketing agency in Fountain Square, started in 2018. The agency has worked with USA Hockey, IUPUI, Ball State University, Next Gear Capital, Mannheim, Gainbridge, Terminus, INHP, and other great organizations. When Bryan isn't shaking things up in the marketing world, he enjoys spending time with his family, exploring new food/art spots in Indy, and uncovering historical connections to today's society. So again, I want to thank Bryan for joining us, and I will hand off the rest of the session to you.
Well, thanks for that, Mark. Thanks for having me. I'm super honored and grateful for, anytime you have these events and anyone shows up. So I appreciate the people that are trickling in. Some of the names look familiar. I've seen throughout this program, and then just following social media channels. So I really am excited to you guys join today. I didn't really know how I was supposed to do this. Winnie kind of told me a little bit, but I had prepared a presentation. I swear I won't bore you all, but in setting this up, I like to. I'm a lifelong learner, and something that's really been on my radar screen, and I'm sure probably in all your different social media feeds, is AI. And so I wanted to spend this time to maybe just talk a little bit about AI and kind of how it's impacting my world, how it's impacting a little bit other worlds, and then maybe just show some resources and talk a little bit about some additional Q&A. So I didn't want to get into too much about myself. We can write those bios and make them sound really great. But I think, to my core, I'm a lifelong learner. And so I'm just wanted to kind of share this presentation that I put together with for everyone. So let me make sure I get this right here. Oops. Sorry, I'm used to doing this on Zoom. Are we good? Everyone see that?
Yep.
Perfect. Thanks. So this presentation is how AI will impact business leaders, small businesses, and freelancers. A little bit, I'm going to do a little intro about myself. Now, I won't repeat what Mark just said. What is AI? How is it defined? Some examples that we're probably already interacting with it. We may or may not know that it's AI. How is it going to impact the business leaders really across different industries? Me being a small business owner, I'll show you kind of what are some impacts it's having on us and how we're using it. And then freelancers, I know that that's a space that's with the gig economy, people are definitely using AI on multiple different ways. So I'll show you a little bit of that, some resources, and then just have a quick Q&A, hopefully to wrap up the evening. So the kind of question is, who is this guy that you guys tuned in to listen to? I'm a husband and a parent. I have a 14-year-old daughter who's getting ready to go to North Central next year, so I'm excited and nervous all at the same time. If anyone has any family at North Central, please, maybe we can connect and you can help be on the lookout for her for next year. Growing up, I was an average student, but I've always considered myself a lifelong learner. And I wanted to kind of show, it's easy to show the bios where everything has worked out. I want to show you some little things that haven't always been perfect for me. I switched my majors 3 times, which is pretty common at universities. I switched universities twice. I had multiple senior years. I had 0 plan coming out of college. And I really started my career in sports marketing by just saying yes. A little bit of background about that is I was applying to, or I responded to an ad at IUPUI about an internship at a racing team. I knew nothing about racing, but I just was kind of adventurous and curious. And so I went there, did the interview. They offered me a position and I just said yes. And I got home and talked to my roommates and I'm like, I don't even know what I signed up for. So I say that, and I tell that to a lot of younger people. I'm still involved at IUPUI, and I tell people that a lot of things in life is saying yes to it and then going and figuring out. And I think that that's such a important skill in life. Is, you know, if we always wait for times that we have everything to figure out before we move forward, very seldomly will we ever move forward. So there's always that risk and that uncomfortableness of saying yes and stepping into opportunity versus waiting for everything to be perfect. So it's easy for me to look back and see that now, but when I was much younger, it was really hard for me to do that. But I'm so glad that I did. Sports and racing and some of the other activities I've done around sports and marketing has literally taken me around the world, to Japan, Germany, Mexico, all throughout the United States, a few other countries I'm sure I'm missing out, Spain, England. So without just saying yes, I don't really know where I would be. So just a little something about, you know, always kind of taking a step forward. I had 3 failed attempts at owning a business before I started Right Hand 5 years ago. So grateful every day that when I show up and people come into work, I truly have never gotten over being grateful for people to choose to work at Right Hand. In today's market, it's a choice of where you work. It's not everything is given. So I really do appreciate when people do, you know, choose to work with us, and we don't take that lightly. I will honest too, I'm not a AI expert, but I've really dug into this the last couple months as it's become really important in our industry. So I'll probably get a few things wrong. And I'm not going to dive into the tech side of things because that's way over my head. So WTH is what is AI? So something of kind of the why I thought this was important is 90% of our mobile users are using AI voice assistants. Now, a lot of people may not think of it as AI, but that's the technology that's driving that. So a lot of times when we say we don't know what that is, we truly are around AI, or it's around us. A lot of people that are much older that don't even know how to do tech, they are engaging with AI. So it's not going away. And I think especially in Black and brown communities, we need to figure out how to embrace it sooner rather than later, or we're going to get left behind. And this is an opportunity for our community to start using these tools to further and advance our career opportunities moving forward. As defined, AI is a branch of computer science that aims to create intelligent machines, teaches computers to learn from experience, recognize patterns, and this is the big difference, make decisions based on data rather than just the programming. So I think that's where this has really changed a lot of things, is like the ability that AI can now make decisions, or point us in the right direction on some of these things as analyzing things, more so than just finding, I guess, just general information, and almost thinking of information as passive. We can now look at AI as helping us become better at what we do and more efficient. So again, some examples that were very common. You think about every time you hit Siri on your Apple phone, that's AI. It's a personal assistance. Google, as we go through, as it auto types things in our Google searches and offers up suggestions, that's AI. Social media, think about how we are tagged, how we are finding things, the algorithm that finds us, the content that we are fed, all of that is AI. Amazon, how we get suggested shopping items. Again, it's just a lot of this tech is already around us, and we're using it, or we're being used for it in some cases. And then you think about Netflix. Something that I've always found interesting is, regardless of where you're at and who is watching, there's a reason why when you log into these places, it's asking for who's watching, because it's developing, the AI is watching, learning, and making recommendations based on who's watching. So gone are the days that everyone sees the same ads on Netflix. I mean, you could even see the same promotion for the same movie. Usually has different cover art depending on which profile you have signed in. So all of that is the back end AI working to make sure that customized messaging is to the person who's watching. And that's what we get allotted to in our marketing space. So how is the impact of AI on business leaders? Just picking kind of three kind of big topics here from a business standpoint. AI is going to improve workflow. So customer service, how do people do customer service? How do we do manufacturing? Making sure that your materials are brought to you at the right time within a manufacturing plant. Retail, again, we showed how you are suggested different items, how you manage inventory, how do you order things as it comes out of stock. All of those are important. And then thinking about optimizing, when you the FedEx route and the UPS route, there's a very specific reason why those routes are optimized. And again, that's not from some person just drawing a random map or drawing on a map a random route. All of that, again, is done in the back end through AI. Healthcare, as you can imagine, is very primed for change from an AI standpoint, from monitoring your symptoms, diagnosing diseases earlier, your records that you can now be able to have someone go through a lot of records and find maybe things that a doctor or yourself even missed. Those are what AI can do. Analyzing large sets of data. I mean, if there was a time that we understood the power of AI, was definitely during the pandemic, when you're starting to see all the data, huge data sets that computers were able to analyze and put out information that was useful and helpful and made decisions. Something that, in doing some research for this presentation, I thought was interesting is, think about how the AI can even help us manage resources to reduce some of our carbon footprints. Some of that may not be as important to us on the everyday, but when you think about the macro level of how we're using some of these resources, sometimes AI and the computers will have a better way of managing resources than just us humans sometimes. And then even detecting endangered species, depending on where they live and where they are. Sometimes, humans, we just think of, putting things where we want them to be. And, there could be insights that we can gain from AI to help where we place some of our new communities moving forward. So some leading question from this section is, how will AI make my business or any business faster, more productive, and or less expensive to run? And those are key things that are questions as business leaders. We need to think about how AI can help them. And then what will the future look like if I don't incorporate AI into my business? I think oftentimes when we think about technology or innovation, right? We think about it as, there's a cost to doing it. Maybe it takes a long time to learn that skill. Maybe it takes longer to implement it into our existing systems. But I think there's the opportunity cost of what we do if we don't do that. I can tell you right now in my creative space, if we don't look to incorporate AI, we're going to be lost. We're going to be left behind. There's just so much stuff that's happening in the AI space as it relates to creatives. We're going to be left behind. People will be able to do jobs faster, better, for less, with less cost than we will be able to, and we won't be able to compete. So that's something that we're looking at, and really all industries should be looking at. And then, especially for this audience, and really even hiring managers, is how will I hire the skills needed to incorporate AI? I think one of the narratives that are out there right now is that AI is going to come in and replace everyone in their jobs. And I think about it in a couple different ways. Yes, there are going to be jobs lost, but there's also going to be jobs gained, because there's going to be people who know how to use the technology to do their job better. And so they're still going to be in high demand, and there's going to be new opportunities that using AI in careers that we probably don't even know yet. And that's something, like I said, I told my daughter, who's going to be a freshman in high school, by the time she's done with college in hopefully 8 years, the workforce, the jobs, it's going to be completely different. And that's only 8 years. So I think that's where businesses really needs to understand, is exactly where this is going. The impact on small business, thinking about chatbots, how chatbots can be used you see them on websites, you see them on your apps, their customer service extensions, things about that. They're making them real good as they're open 24/7. There are no sick days. There are no bad attitudes when you're, trying to get some information about your company or give your information about the company. You don't have to worry about someone interacting maybe negatively with a customer. And then I think about this, we think about this from a chatbot standpoint is, there's typically, and if we have people who own their own business or starting their own business, usually customers have about 5 to 10 questions that you get every time that you talk about your business or your product or your service. And so just thinking about a chatbot being placed in front of that, being placed in front of any human interaction. And so you or someone on your staff doesn't have to answer the same 5 to 10 questions over and over. So just think about the interactions, the speed, the efficiency that you can be by just answering 5 to 10 questions prior to interacting with a human. So it could be, again, ways to make small businesses, which is small investments in AI, to really make them more efficient. For us, I wanted to give you a quick example. We do a lot of video editing. There is a website, Gloss AI, which is out of Israel. We have partnered with them to help them develop their tech. But for example, I did a screenshot here. I uploaded a video that we had done. There's a picture of myself there. We did just some fun question and answers videos. I took that video, put it through this, uploaded it to their service. As you can see on the left-hand side here, they actually there's snippets that they cut out of all of the different pieces that just me speaking. And where this makes a lot of sense for us is it allows me to upload something and forget it, right? I just upload it, and we can upload multiple videos at a time, and we can go off and do other things. We can go edit other projects. So we essentially have multiple people working on multiple projects at the same time. Again, that's 24/7. And one person can theoretically be editing multiple pieces at once. This is also great because it's on demand. Since it's web-based, I can access it from here in my office, at my laptop, in a coffee shop, and make some tweaks to it. I can view it all within their web-based platform. And you also thinking about when work gets done now, like I could upload this video. Let's say I uploaded it now. It does some processes, and let's say it is available at 10 o'clock tonight. I can start editing at 10 o'clock tonight. I don't have to worry. I don't have to wait for my employees to come in tomorrow morning at 8. We could start doing some work prior to the next morning. Here's a screenshot. So not only does it analyze the video, but it also transcribes it. So you can see in this middle section, there is a gray, or there's the regular font, which is a black font, and then the highlighted font. That's basically everything that I'm saying in this clip. The real amazing thing about this is, let's say that I missed, or I wanted to add to my clip, my video clip. I could just go down and highlight those words in the transcriptions, and it would automatically pull the video where I say that and add it to the clip. So you think about, yeah, I'll share this later for sure. And so this allows us to quickly edit. This allows us to keyword search. Let's say I wanted to pull out all the things that I'm talking about, XYZ. I could go through and search all the time it says XYZ and just pull out those clips. So again, huge time saver. Anyone that does content knows how laborious that can be to get these different clips and get different takes. The one thing this one doesn't do that I wish it did was it doesn't cut out the ums and buts. There are some sites that do that. We're working with the developer to help identify the ums and buts and take those things out for the edit, because those are kind of very annoying. So a leading question for this is, how can AI make my team more creative while being more efficient? So a lot of times, again, people say that we're going to be replaced by the computers, which there is going to be some truth to that. But thinking about this, an example that I just gave you, let's say we have 10 hours to do a project, and it took my editor 9 hours to do all the clips and cut out all of those pieces. And so they have 1 hour to be creative, like making everything, tweaking it, adding maybe text to the screen, maybe doing all the things that really kind of refine a piece. Now, taking this example backwards, let's say it only takes an hour to upload and pull out all the clips. Now my editor has 9 hours to be more creative, to look at the footage and to use it in a more creative way. And so you can still use that 10 hours, but you can now shift from all the tedious work to more of the creative work. And so that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is maybe a job that used to take 10 hours now takes 5 hours, but my creative team now has 4 hours to work on creative stuff within that 5-hour block. And so we get a better, more creative product in that. And so again, this is how we're using AI. We also use writing tools, which I'll show some examples of that, to get ideas and different things out of our heads. But just a real kind of example of how we use AI in our day-to-day. Now moving on to freelancers. So what I did here, I know that some of you in the class, we were thinking about upskills and learning. AI is a great tool to help us learn. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see the prompt. It says, create a lesson plan to learn SEO marketing. This should be a 4-week course with a person spending about 4 hours per week. That's literally the prompt that I put into this an AI. And then what it did is it started to generate a plan. Now, so why I think this is really important is, imagine trying to learn a new software or a new platform. You literally could go and instead of just watching random videos on this or not knowing what order you want to watch or learn stuff, the AI will help you quickly get skilled to learn a skill or to upskill on something. So just thinking about the opportunities for freelancers to quickly learn something. Again, remember I said saying yes to something and then figuring it out. This is a great example. I mean, you may know something, you may know part of a skill, but let's say that the project requires you to go out and gain some additional knowledge. You don't know where to start. You literally can ask prompts or have the prompt help guide you into learning more about a specific topic, a specific framework, a specific concept. And again, you don't have to wait for an instructor to tell you what order you should do that. Now, again, you always want to do some additional research. Maybe there are templates out there, but for me, this has been a really important way to do some additional research, to tie some different pieces together. I'm just asking it to teach me something. So just to screenshot, it started to lay out the lesson plan. It showed you kind of the overview, the module, what to use within there, maybe some practice things that you could do. Obviously, all of this is tweakable. You can go back in and prompt it to ask or to get a little deeper into some of this stuff. But just imagine for you to have a framework to start learning something, or we've all been in a meeting and we've heard someone use a term and we're not exactly sure what that means. Taking that term and building out maybe just a quick little, how to learn that term, and it gives you the top 10 things you need to learn about that. Just imagine the power we have in quickly learning a skill. I just think and to then go and use that as a freelancer to be paid for that. I think that's another great opportunity with AI. So some elements that freelancers can use AI is thinking about tasks. So I showed you the example of how to transcribe audio or video files, resizing images. You have AI sites now that you can take, if you're a photographer, and take all of your your photos, drop it into a website, and it resizes it. It can even put different filters on it. It can help you tag things. So again, all these things that take a long time, this is where AI can help freelancer. Formatting documents. The real big thing that I've used this technology for is to quickly generate a lot of different ideas. I'm convinced that when you ask people to give you 10 different ideas, you typically get 1 to maybe 3 actual different ideas. And then the rest of the 7 are usually just iterations of the first 3. This is where AI could really give you 10 different directions to look at a singular problem, or to give you to solve the same problem 10 different ways. Now, some of them aren't great, but this is a great opportunity to help enhance your thinking by having something give you, I like to say, like thought starters. Great way to use them for thought starters. Great way to get unstuck if you're writing. Let's say you're a freelancer and you need to write copy for something. This is a great way to kind of take content you already have and have it rewrite it for you, give you 3 different versions of the same paragraph. Again, get you motivated and unstuck and put you in a different direction. Project management allows you to track progress, manage multiple projects at once. Like AI can do a lot of this stuff in the back end. Send reminders. How many times of reminders and things help save us to remember important time, maybe key timelines, deadlines, milestones that you're trying to hit. A lot of this can be done with AI. There's a lot of great scheduling apps now that can be incorporated into even tracking your time. So as a freelancer, every time your computer can sense when you're working on a specific project, and it'll start counting the amount of time that you're on that. And then it can run a report later at the end of the day of like how much time you spent on each different screen for different projects. Obviously that's been something you had to do manually, and this could be something that could be incorporated into your workflow as a freelancer. I just pulled this example. I just went on randomly. I know some of the skills that are offered is UX design. I wish I would have gotten into UX design. I love the idea of UX design, but I just pulled this out to show you an example on Fiverr. You know, someone who's a freelancer, their premium package is a 970 for 5 pages of UX design, you design. So you think about to the example of saving time. Imagine if you were able to save time, um, becoming more efficient as a freelancer, and you could start doing 2 of these a week, right? And so again, you have a full-time job and you want to gain some additional income, or you want to gain some additional skills, or you want to build a different portfolio. These are things that AI could help you become more efficient. And so that, again, helps create more earning potential, but also gives you the opportunity to explore new opportunities without the huge commitment of maybe a full-time job. So I found this as a interesting example. You know, a seven day delivery time, you know, $970. Um, and you know, if AI can do some of this work for you on the back end, it could be a very lucrative opportunity for freelancers. So some leading questions for freelancers is, how can AI help me learn new and improve skills? How can AI help me market those skills to businesses? Literally, you can prompt it to tell you how to write an Instagram strategy, or how to do a LinkedIn. You could optimize your LinkedIn profile. You could create a whole content strategy on LinkedIn on what to post, what topics to post around certain topics. And these again are skills we all could do, right? But the AI can help us either get us into new directions we weren't going to do, and it can also help us do it at a more efficient rate. Then how can AI help me do more work in less time? And as a freelancer, someone with a side hustle, you know, it's something that always we're trying to do. We're trying to maximize the amount of time. You know, it's the inputs in and outputs out. You know, the more outputs we can have with less inputs, you know, it makes for more of a business case of why you need to be doing more of those. Some resources, I know I've kind of flown through this, some resources that wanted to show you a lot of, and these are kind of in the news a lot. OpenAI is kind of the hub for a lot of this. A lot of, you really can't get onto Twitter or Instagram and all these places without kind of hearing stuff about OpenAI and ChatGPT. There's a lot of people that are out pushing courses, information. You know, obviously, you know, YouTube is a great resource to just search within there. There's a lot of influencers in the OpenAI as well as ChatGPT. A tool that I use, I showed some screenshots from how to do the lesson plan, was Jasper AI. They just got, I believe, like 200 and some $1 million fund seed round. So people are starting to heavily invest into AI, and this platform is really for content creators. It's for copywriters. It really is a helpful tool to do. You know, I've used it even to write a better job description for a job posting. I've used it to ask better interview questions. You literally put a job description in there and say, you know, write better or write job interview questions for this position. So again, it makes our life easier. Um, and I will then, so do you guys I open it up for questions right now? Did I put everyone to sleep?
Guys, remember that if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or unmute yourself. I have a question though. like you were mentioning that AI can help like copywriters and content creators, but I have this thing that is like, what about those content creators that, for example, create comedy? Can AI be funny? Like, can they provide the tools and like be funny? Like, I don't know. I feel like that has like a cultural component. Like you have to be like witty. I don't know if AI can do that. Can can it?
Yes, and so there's a couple different learning models that it's going after. So like Jasper, the example I gave you, you can actually pick the tone. So you can pick witty, you could pick funny, you could actually because it's basically gone out to the web and it's basically consumed the web if it's fathomable.
Oh,
But so think about I don't know how many of you guys follow Gary Vee. So Gary Vee is a really popular influencer, entrepreneur space. You could say, write me a Facebook ad as if you're Gary Vee, and it will come across in his tonality. You could also say, write me a Facebook ad for my company full as I'm trying to think of someone else. Um, well, you're seeing a lot in AI right now with Drake, right? Like you saw Drake, like his voice.
mhm.
So you can literally, that's a whole nother scary time. I didn't even want to show you guys some of the things that are being done on video and voice. We have some ability to take people's voices, run them through an AI to learn the voice, and then we can type any script and it will read it in that person's voice. So with the inflections and it sounds like it's pretty convincing. And so that's where deep fakes, that's where it's going to get really scary. And that's the downside of AI, right? Like that's going to be really, really interesting to see as we get into election season. People misusing that, especially on social media, especially on, you know, different political views. You're going to start seeing that more and more often, which is terrible. But the other thing too is you can train the AI, so to speak. So I could take previous work that I've written and feed it into an AI, and so I can analyze my specific writing, my tone, maybe my poor grammar, just the context of the way I write. And then I can say, and you're seeing this done more and more, write an email to, using my tone, write an email to a prospect for a new client. And it'll write copy close to, kind of as it's me. So again, it's scary but exciting all at the same time.
I was about to say that. Like that sounds scary, but exciting
Yes.
definitely. Thank you. Anyone else?
Can, can I get a sense of like everyone, maybe just different people's journeys, like who's on the call and maybe what you're working on?
Yeah, go ahead, guys. Like, unmute yourselves and start sharing. It's comfortable.
If you want to just drop in the chat, we can go that way. I won't.
My name is Candace. I am currently in real estate, but I am in the UX program.
Candace, I follow you on social. You have great social channels.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I need to
Yeah.
start using this AI to help me a little bit.
It's really big in the real estate side of things.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a site too. Check out Big View.
Oh, yeah, I have heard of that.
That's big in real estate right now.
I will make sure I download that. Thank you. Yeah, this has been helpful. I definitely need to do some research just to one, keep up, but then just learn all the ways that we can utilize it to make our jobs easier.
Yeah, and I think too the bigger as Black and Brown community, you know, I think this gives us a good opportunity to in some cases leapfrog some of the barriers that we've experienced.
Mhm.
I've read that if you dedicate 18 minutes a day for a full year on one topic, that gives you 100 hours in that particular topic over the course of a year. And that's literally more than 95% of the people. So
Mm.
just like that's really what I've been doing around this AI space. Like there's so much more that I could know and should know, but I just take it in small bits and pieces. And over the course of, I guess, really since the start of the year, I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of stuff's on, and because the algorithm is going to find you once you search for stuff,
Yep.
it'll start coming back to you. So embrace it, just be curious, and I'm sure that you'll be able to jump in.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for this.
Yeah, Howard, my sister-in-law is a nurse educator at a hospital, and she's been able to incorporate this into her day-to-day job. So nurses are constantly learning new procedures, learning new things. And the other great thing that AI can do is you can put a topic in, but you can also say who is your audience. So, for example, I could say create a presentation around AI for a fifth grader, and it will give me one output. And I could also say for college level students, and I'll get another output. So thinking about, who your audience is, Howard, you may be talking to people, you could be talking to teenagers, but you could also be talking to parents. So you could create two different prompts and say, about this topic, or, whatever it may be, targeted for teenagers, or you could say for parents, and you could get two completely different outcomes, and they're both very useful. So, and you could do that so much faster than what you probably can. Now we got a lot of stuff going on in here. Katrina, what would you mind sharing a little bit more about what you're doing? Because I'm very fascinated by the topic of what you're working on.
Yeah, so I currently work with nonprofits that are working with foster youth and different poverty alleviation programs and different programs that help them build skills to be self-sufficient. And so I really want to move into a role of an analyst or program evaluator that really helps these programs run more effectively, so that we can learn what areas we need to focus on and where to focus our resources.
Yeah, a lot of, I say, especially in the nonprofit space, I feel like there's so many great initiatives, but a lot of them are so scattered, right? And you're talking neighborhood to neighborhood. If we could find ways to, harness the power of all of them in their small groups, but then, find that power that collectively is that best practices, is that access to know how, even to write a grant or know what grants are available. Sharing that information across the board could be really powerful. And that's what you could do at scale with some of this stuff that, it was available to do before, but it just was so hard, right? You had to have one person try to locate all of those things. And this is where AI could
Mhm.
really help um, take the amount of time that would take months or sometimes years, that maybe you could keep that down to days and hours.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds great. I'm really excited to be working with the program and see how it can help me out.
One other thing about specifically Chat GPT, I see someone is in the Python program. Literally, you can take code and put it in there and ask it to run it to make sure that it works. You could find mistakes in it. Again, maybe I'm not supposed to tell you this because you're supposed to be learning this on your own. It can write Python. So you can play around with that even if you need it to do something. It's ChatGPT is pretty amazing. I know that the next version has already come out, or it's on the. I've seen some previews of it. One of the things that's pretty amazing, it's going to be able to look at pictures and analyze the pictures of what's in it. So they gave an example of you took a picture. If you take a picture of your refrigerator or inside of your refrigerator, items that are in your refrigerator, it can not only identify what all those items are, but you could say, this is what I have in my refrigerator. Can you recommend recipes? And it'll give you a recipe on what to prepare based on what's in your refrigerator. So, just thinking about someone who's maybe limited in knowledge of how to cook, I mean, it could be a great way for them to take some of that. Pretty. You could even do. I've seen it. I've done it where it says like prepare a week grocery list for a keto diet, and it'll give you a list of items to buy as well as maybe meal suggestions. So really think, and I think where this is going to go is, thinking about how we use Siri for some of our very specific tasks, but to imagine that how it could open up so much more through our day-to-day life and use that from not just the tech side, but it will really help us in the physical world.
Question actually.
Yeah.
So what sort of things would you suggest we be learning how to do with AI? Like in terms of like we're all looking for or working towards jobs in tech if we're not already in tech. So what sort of things do you think are important to start learning about it now? Just how to use it in general?
Yes. I'm so glad you said this, and I'm so embarrassed that I did not put this in here because it's so important. And I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys can all see. It's a new field that's really honestly being developed right now is prompt engineering. So essentially what you're teaching the computer based on prompts how to do something. So it's much like coding, right? Where you write a language to get the computer to do something. But instead of doing it in a script that we don't understand, right? It's a very specific language. You're using our language to tell the computer to do something in a way that is going to get the intended outcome that you want. So that whole field is called prompt engine. And if I had to guess, there are probably universities. There's definitely online courses. There's gurus out there that are talking about it, and there's just specific ways to write prompts within these AI models that gives you more a more robust answer. So, for example, if I just wrote generically, write me a marketing plan, write me a social media plan. That's I would get an outcome. It'd be very basic. Now, if I said, write me, so what you want to do is prompt it to say you are a marketing expert. So that prompts the AI to know that they're a marketing expert. And I want you to write a marketing plan or a social media plan for XYZ and blah, 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 here's some more additional details. And here are some other key things you need to know about this. And then you get a much more robust answer. So again, as I said, the better input you get, the better output you get. And so prompt engineering is exactly what that is going to be. So once you get more familiar with how to write better prompts, you'll get better. So if I could say, like, if you could just go learn that and go practice being a good prompt writer, the outcome, the possibilities are endless. And I'm not trying to just be funny, because you're going to learn how to speak to the AI and get more out of the AI than just the average person. And I think I have seen the most bang for my buck by learning prompting more than anything on this.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And the other great thing about that is this is all new. Like, this isn't like we've had 4 generations of prompt engineers that are, white and come from Carmel and all that stuff. So, this is where we can make a difference in our communities and our generational wealth, because we now we can get into this stuff faster, and we don't have to necessarily wait for traditional education to catch up, because it's going to take forever for that class to be offered at IUPUI, right? You might be able to take it from Google. I don't know. But, even if you like, there's many articles written about prompt engineering. It's pretty big. It's pretty big already in like at Purdue and Stanford. I mean, some of the big engineering schools, but now this is really getting out to the masses. And this is where Black and brown communities could really start getting an advantage, or yeah, an advantage, but also just catching up faster, you know? So yeah, I'm completely embarrassed that I did not start out with prompt engineering. Now that I've gone through this. So if you take nothing away from tonight, please spend 20 minutes this week learning a little bit more about prompt engineering, and I think it really will make a difference in how you use tools in the future. Yes, for sure, Nicole. That's what I'm talking about. We don't have to wait for permission on any of this stuff. We could really make a difference in some of these spaces, and I think our communities will be better off if we do.
Any other question, guys?
I always have an open offer. I'm obviously on LinkedIn. Mark knows me. I mean, I'm always willing and want to help. Sometimes it's a listening session. We've gone through those with Mark and his development, and he's been great. We've enjoyed. We wish we could see him more often, but everyone gets busy. So if there's anything that you guys would love to bounce off me, I'd love to work with you, and or if nothing else, just to help promote and support whatever you're doing. I think it's important for all of us to support each other, and yeah, I would just wish you guys the best of luck. And we're actually going to be doing a little bit more work with Be Nimble on the foundation side, so hopefully we see each other more and can support each other whenever we can.
That's great. Is it okay if I share your LinkedIn profile here?
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much, Brian. It was amazing. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Remember that if you have any questions or if you'd like to catch the replay, I'm going to upload this session to our Notion board. It'll be available tomorrow morning. Thank you again, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.